Up until now, I've never watched a Disney live-action remake of an animated film. And honestly, I've never really been interested. That is, until I saw the trailer for Mulan. This was the first one that I was really excited to see. And then 2020 happened, and it got delayed, and then theaters closed, and then we just kind of waited. But then luckily Disney Plus said, hey, we're going to bring it to the screen. We're going to bring it to our platform. Ah, there's a catch. It's $30 if you want premium access, but you get to watch it as many times as you want. So the question is it worth that rental price? This live action follows the same storyline as its animated original, but there are a few key differences. First off, there's no Mushu, and then there's no singing. The cinematography in this movie is stunning, and the landscapes that they show us are just beautiful and breathtaking. I love how the camera just pulls way back and we get to see mountainsides or deserts, and just the characters are minuscule on the screen, and it just shows the grandeur of where the characters are going or what they're facing or where they're at. And it helps in the psyche of the characters because sometimes they're feeling isolated, alone, just needing to decompress or needing to be alone to get their thoughts in order. And we get to see how far they are removed from everything else. Yif Lu, and I'm certain I'm mispronouncing her name, so my apologies. She plays Mulan, and she is outstanding to watch. I mean, she captures the character that we watched in the animated film so well. She's snarky, she's driven, she's smart and intuitive. She's also intense, has a lot of charisma and charm. After watching this, I'm not sure that younger audiences are really going to have the patience for it. It's not slow, but it's also not nonstop action. The soundtrack in this is good, and I like that they incorporate music from the animated feature within this, but because there's not singing, it does feel like it's lost a little bit of its heart. I mean, the lyrics really help to convey parts of the story. It brings a lot of emotion into what's going on. And so when they don't put that in, we do hear some of the music and we watch some of the action, but it's not being reinforced by these lyrics that are just truly helping to build the story. This is still a really good watch. I mean, this movie has to be able to stand on its own, aside from the animated feature. It's not fair for me to just compare them side by side the entire time. And I honestly think that it can stand on its own. The battles are cool, and the character interactions are sometimes intense or funny, awkward, and pretty believable too. The story in this is still really solid. I mean, it's going based off of the source material, and it's following what we saw in the animated film. So the storyline is pretty much intact. We have a young woman with the heart of a warrior. She sneaks out and takes her father's place in the Imperial Army because she's going to help try and defend the Empire from an invading force. And she risks dishonor and her life to do so. But she fights bravely and cunningly, and ultimately she prevails. I especially like how they focus on Mulan's chi, and that's like her strength or her focus. And so when it goes into battle scenes or when she's really drawing on this special power, the camera just focuses in and it kind of blurs everything out a little bit, and it just adds some motion and some focus to what she's doing. I enjoyed watching her kick butt. I could have done with a lot more of her using her chi to just whomp on her opponents. There is humor that they have in the story, and it does make it fun, but I think that they could have exploited some of the other characters, the co-stars of this, to make it more engaging and more intriguing. Her co-stars in the army could have used more depth. I mean, we get to see them little bits here and there, and we get a little bit on them just from some of the dialogue, but I think they could have really built more of the story, which then draws us in even more. And so as they fight as a unit, as friends, it's so much more impactful. And because they don't do that as much, it really makes Mulan a loner hero. And I don't want to take away from her being the hero, because she is, and she rocks, and she's awesome. But I think it just would have been if you have some supporting characters building up around her, it makes her journey and her quest and her rising above them even more just spectacular. I wanted more from the villain as well. I wanted to know the motivation. I mean, we get lines of dialogue which help build the story, but I think to visually see it through flashbacks, through small scenes, would have been more engaging. I think it would probably be more entertaining for younger audiences also, because it adds action to what's going on. One of the big debates around this movie when it was announced that it was coming to Disney Plus for a premium price was that actual price. I mean, paying $30 to see it on a service that you already subscribe to, that seems kind of weird and kind of steep. But I also have to then think, would I have recommended you see this in the theater? I think I would. And honestly, a family of 4 to go to the theater would have cost more than $30, and you only get to see it once. You would have to then rent it or wait for it to come out on Disney Plus or some other streaming platform for free, which could be years. So to pay $30 and be able to watch it as many times as you want, even still only while you have Disney Plus subscription, I don't think it's that bad of a deal. I think the largest hurdle that Disney Plus is going through is that most on-demand titles right now are like in the $6 range. I mean, sure, there are a couple that hit that $20 range, but if you chip in a couple bucks more, you get to own it digitally. I mean, own it. So it's yours. So when Disney says, hey, you can pay $30 and you can watch it on our service, in addition to the $7 or whatever it is that you're paying each month, you get to watch it as many times as you want while you have the service. Well, if I stop having Disney Plus, that access goes away. I don't own it anymore. And I think to add further complications, Disney announced that Mulan is going to come to Disney Plus free in just a couple of months at the end of 2020. So if you're not in a massive rush to watch it, then you can just wait a little bit and it's just included then in your subscription. And you still get to watch it as many times as you want. So overall, I do think the rental price is worth it if you really are itching to watch something new and want to see it and you just cannot wait. But otherwise, that wait, it's not that long. And so you can just hold on and then see it for free in a couple of months. I did have a lot of fun with this movie, but I do think that it could have been better by developing some more of the characters. But on the whole, I had fun with it, and the visuals and Mulan herself, spectacular to watch. Personally, I still think that the animated version is better, but you can have fun with this one as well. There's no sex, nudity, or profanity, but there is a lot of violence. I give the live-action remake of Mulan 3 out of 5 couches. So have you or will you be watching this as part of the premium access? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.